Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bench to Bold. I'm Marnie.
And I'm Elisa.
And I'm so excited about our guest today. So I want to just go right to the good part. We have Shelly Gates with us. And Shelly Gates is a designer, an interior designer, and she has her own business called Margaret Designs. So I saw Shelly on TV doing these amazing dorm room reveals. And I was like, well, my boys are still in school, but I don't think that they're going to go for it. My daughter had just graduated and her designs were so inspiring that I was like, I just need to talk to her. So Shelly, thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks for being so agreeable to me stalking you online and finding you and begging you to join us because I love everything about what you're doing and I just want to know it all. And thanks. So how did you get started in designing and decorating?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm absolutely flattered. I've always loved decorating. I probably should have went to school to get a degree in interior design, but I didn't. I got a degree in something else, but I've always loved it. And I've been a fourth grade school teacher for the last 13 years. And in 2020, I decorated one of my daughter's dorm rooms and put it on Facebook. And just as a proud mom, certainly not any kind of advertisement. And I had so many people reach out and talk about how great it was and they loved it. And I thought, well, this is a great idea for a little summer job for me. That's perfect. I can do it, in the summer, in between the school year. And I thought it would be so much fun. And it's been so much fun, but it's gotten way more than what I ever imagined it was going to be.
I'm sure. So, all right. So you said to your daughter, she was going to college and my daughter just graduated from college. So we, went to, all the usual suspects and it looked okay, but she was always not that inspired by her dorm room and her apartments or sorority house. Did you talk to your daughter and say, I'm just going to go do it? I mean, how did this whole idea happen?
Well, she knew I loved to decorate. And so she kind of let me be in charge of that. She's a little bit more low key than my oldest daughter is, who would have had a lot of opinions, for sure. But yeah, so like I said, she went to school at Mississippi State University. And because it's in the South, dorms are very normalized here to have a really beautiful dorm. So that was the expectation moving in, that she was going to have a decorated dorm room.
Fantastic. And so you're a teacher. So obviously then you decorate I'm sure your classrooms are incredible.
Beautiful.
When it comes time for the school year to start. And so what made you decide to be a teacher? I love that you're a fourth grade teacher and my mom was a teacher before doing other things. So how did teaching become the thing that you wanted to do?
Well, I actually stopped teaching last year. So this is my first year to not be in the classroom because I chose to run my business full time. But you know what? I was raised with educators and it was a great career choice with younger children as far as time and us, being all on the same schedule. So it's been really great. But my husband and I decided in the winter of last year that we needed to make a decision if I was going to continue to teach or did I want to run my business full time. So here we are out here trying it out and seeing how it's going.
Fantastic. Well, I love your website and all the examples of what you've done on your website.
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
And oh my gosh.
So I don't have any design in me. What are there some things how do you know to mix patterns or my grandmother was an incredible interior designer, but I missed that genetic coding. So did you do this with your mother or your grandmother when you were younger? Where did all this love for designing happen?
Well, I've always just loved to mix and match and think out of the box with things. When my girls were little, like babies, like toddlers, they would go to what was called Mother's Day Out, which is, at the church, and they would go from 9 to 2. And for fun, I would go to the fabric store and just mix and match fabrics and design a new pillow I thought I needed, or, design if I was going to be expecting the baby's nursery. And so that was what I did for fun. I don't know that sounds like a lot of fun to a lot of people, but it was fun for me. I loved it. And I love being able to be creative and be different. And that's one of the things I pride myself on in my dorm rooms, is that the dorm rooms reflect the girls, and they don't look cookie cutter. They're a vision of what my girls have interpreted.
So I have a question, because I was looking at your website. It's absolutely beautiful. And some of those rooms are just, I can't even imagine being a 20-year-old girl and in a dorm room, because I know what my dorm room looked like, and it was not good. But when you're in a beautiful space like that, then it makes you feel beautiful, right? But my question is that looking at all this, because there's a lot of time constraint to this, are you actually doing all the sewing as well?
I wish I could sew, but I have been known to hot glue on a button, which I feel like is just a real skill, right? No, I can't sew a lick. I wish I could, but I work with a fabric store here, and I've become very dear friends with the owner. And so they take care of all of my custom bedding, headboards, anything that you see that's custom, they handle it for me.
Yeah, because that's intensive labor and a lot of work and a lot of hours put into that beautiful, all those beautiful rooms that you've created in that space.
So what's the process, Shelly? So how does somebody, they're like, okay, we're going to reach out to Shelly. They find you on your website or online. And then what happens?
So once I book a client, I try my best to get to know the girls ahead of time, as much as I can in the beginning. So I have them send a Pinterest board. I have them send any picture, TikTok, anything that they have that they think that they like. And then I just get to know them. I talk to them. I listen to their vibe. And then we kind of formulate an idea of what they like. Sometimes the roommates have two different ideas, so we have to kind of mesh that together. But my business is very client driven. So I'm not pushing anything on them. It's just giving them the vocabulary and helping them articulate what it is they want. And not every 18 and 19-year-old has that design vocabulary just yet. But my whole goal is to take their vision and interpret it into a room that they're going to really just love.
I think that's so great. I mean, I went to Penn State and our dorm rooms were like pretty pathetic. I mean, it was not good. So I want a time machine for many things, including you coming to decorate my dorm room when I was, a freshman in college. But so you do dorm rooms and sorority houses. And also, do you have, I think on your website, you were mentioning that you also do adult homes and not just dorm rooms. Is that something that you're also doing?
I do, because dorm rooms are seasonal. After that, I move on to more home interiors. I do a lot of children's rooms, which I like to do because I can be creative. And I do a lot of college apartments. So around here, usually you'll live in the dorm the 1 year, and then you'll go and either live in the sorority house or in an apartment. So I'm very intentional with things in my dorm room that they'll be able to transition with you throughout the next 4 years of college.
So do you go and where's the farthest that you've gone to do a dorm room or an apartment? Where have you traveled to? What places have you been?
So when I designing a room and installing a room are two separate things. So as far as installation, I've gone, to Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, more just in kind of the SEC schools right now. And that has worked well for me logistics wise with the movers and the furniture and all the things that I have to bring with me to the actual dorm room.
How do you choose? How do you pick and choose? Because I'm sure you have a wait list. I can't even imagine are you just a one woman show, or do you have help? I'm sure you have to have help. So tell us a little bit about your service area and what what you can do, what you can't do, and how you choose your people. Because I'm sure, like I said, you have a wait list.
Well, the whole heart of my business is not the design or the clicks or anything like that. It's that I want to serve my moms and my girls. This is such a tough transition for both of them. And I can empathize with the mom because I've been there and I know how hard it can be on my clients. So I really love to walk them through this process and just, make it a smooth transition. I mean, the moms want the peace of mind that their girls have a little home away from home, and the girls need a little refuge that still feels like home, because now all of a sudden they're adulting, and living by themselves. And it can definitely be a lot, for them. But like I said earlier, once I take on a client, we start rocking and rolling. And then usually the girls don't find out their dorms till the end of May or sometime in June. So then that makes my summer ridiculously crazy. I have been a one-woman show, but this year I hired a team to help me, which was the smartest thing I've ever done. And now we'll no longer be able to do that without them. Not everybody wants an installation. Some do and some don't. So that's a choice that I offer them as we go through the process.
So you mean some people would just say, all right, send me what I need and then we'll install it or we'll go get it? Is that, or the installation to me is like the full reveal. Like you go in and you do the headboards and do the decorating and the pillows and all that and
assemble it all.
Yeah. And some people can have your services, but without the installation.
Yes. And for instance, I did a room this year in Arkansas, and the mom, it wasn't logistically going to work out for me to do the install. And so the mom was able to handle it and it turned out great. But so it's a lot more behind the scenes. So of course I help the girls, and together we come up with the design of the room, but that's only a small part of it. So there's a lot of research that has to go into the dorm, layout, measuring, trying to, figure things out, especially if it's a room I've not been in before. And then it's all the ordering and the sourcing and the inventory and the unpacking. And so if I'm not going to install a room, I still take care of all that. I just send it to the parents instead of sending it, here to my storeroom.
When did this become a thing? Like, obviously we would always, go shopping and but when did it become something where that hiring somebody to help us, like as parents, was like, that's a good thing to do. Like, why didn't we think of this sooner? But when did you realize that this was like an actual thing?
I live in Mississippi. And so the schools in Mississippi have always tended to do this. Like I said earlier, it's kind of a norm. I mean, the rooms are all just gorgeous. But I think in the last 3 or 4 years, I've seen such an uptick with everything in that the girls want that. Like if they're a junior or senior in high school, they want that kind of dorm room, versus when we were all in school, I pretty much lived in a prison cell. And I had some black milk crates because I was, cool like that at the time. But now the girls want that beautiful room. And so there's so many ways to get it. Also, I mean, you don't have to hire me, because there's so many different places right now to get ideas and the TikToks and the Instagrams and, being able to see the dorms and whatever you want in the room. So I think it's really cool. And I'm glad that it's continuing to be on the rise.
Oh, I think it's so great. So are there some just basic tips that you could share that would tie a room together? Or what are the things that you as a decorator say, okay, you got to do this and that, and to make it look cohesive?
So when I mentioned earlier about being intentional, there are some things you're going to put your money in and there's some things you're not going to put your money in. And so I always tell my clients, okay, let's plan to spend a little more here because it'll last 4 years of college, right? But we're not going to buy a nice rug. We're going to buy a really cheap and expensive rug because they're gross at the end of the year. They're nasty. But as far as pulling things together, the hardest part about a dorm room is the size. And it's trying to pull space from everything that you can pull, right? So you see the pretty stuff, but also there's so much going on behind the scenes as far as storage and things like that. So I always tell my clients, if you want that kind of polished look, get some things that are going to be stored. They're going to control your storage situation. So I always loft the bed to 36 inches. That's why people are like, why are the beds so high? Well, there's a purpose. And then I have the special bed skirts made that slide open so the girls get underneath or can get underneath. But then that's where I'm putting their dresser and all their extra storage and all these kind of things like that. But then the bed skirt hides it. So that really pulls together a really pretty look. I also use a lot of desk skirts, and they're actually split. So they're strategic. So the girls can easily get under there, and we have extra storage and extra things like that. But it gives that room a little bit more of a polished look. I don't think you have to spend a lot to have a beautiful dorm. I am all about, bougie on a budget over here. And I think the most cohesive thing you can do is, besides the storage and making things look more streamlined with your bed skirts and desk skirts and things like that. But I think it's to think out of the box. What is it that you can use somewhere that you maybe not have thought about before? Or is there something in the dorm room that's really ugly, which 9 out of 10 times there are? How could you cover that up? So you'll see I do a lot of walls and a lot of things like that. Well, that's not just to be cute. It's because we're really trying to hide something back there.
So, all right. So now everybody's moved into their dorms. And so now what does Shelly do? Does Shelly spend the next 6 months getting ready for the next season? Or do you say, let's do Halloween, let's do Christmas? Like what is Shelly doing now?
Well, my son just started playing football for LSU. So I just did an LSU fall door, which is so fun. But I do a lot of Christmas decorating, which is really fun. I'm going to take a little bit of time off in October because I've been working some pretty long hours now for several months. And then we'll gear up for the holidays and I'll do some decorating and different, projects that people would like me to do. And by January or February, we really start rocking and rolling again. So it's not too much of a break.
No, I would say not. What do you think having a special room, what kind of impact does that have? Certainly as the parent to be able to provide that, but for the kids, for the girls, what kind of feeling do they get when they know that it's intentional, that their dorm room is done the way that it is? So not every single one because of the time factor, but 9 out of the 10 reveals are really the first time they've seen the room. And so I cry every single time because it is so sweet to see the excitement on their face. But, what a lot of my girls will tell me is that their room is the hangout room, right? It's the fun room. It's the room people want to come and hang out and visit and they love that, but most importantly, they like that it's their first little home away from home. And, it's so sweet to watch them. Just the reveals, like I said, it's so precious. The girls are amazing. And it just makes me so happy to see them so excited.
So I have to ask, is every room in your house just perfectly decorated?
I do tend to like to decorate in my house and change a lot of things. And I'm not sure my husband thinks that's the best idea in the whole world, but I do. I like it. So, you get tired of things and like to switch it out, but I do like to decorate.
Yeah, because we feel good in a space that looks good, right? I get it. I was just yesterday, my husband and I are building a house and I'm going to have a new podcast room. And I was standing in that space yesterday. It's just a concrete floor right now. It's in a basement. And I was thinking, how can I make this a beautiful podcast room?
Right. So Shelly, we're going to have to bring you to North Carolina.
So do you travel to North Carolina?
Or do it online? It's going to be Elisa. Well, I'm getting to benefit from it. It'll be our little podcast dorm room.
Yeah, we'll have to have you come to, because I'm like Marnie. I didn't get that gene. I have no creativity and I have to hire my help.
Well, I love doing a home. I do. But I prefer a smaller space because it does give me that opportunity to think out of the box, and use things that maybe you had not thought about using this way. Well, now we're going to use it this way, right? I was dying to hang a bicycle on somebody's wall this year, and I could not talk anybody into letting me do it. And I was dying to do it. But yeah, like that would be so fun. I would love that.
So are there trends? I mean, are there color trends? I know that you work with, girls and they might have an idea of what their palette might be, but are there certain color trends for 2025 that we need to be paying attention to, or almost 26? Like what's going on in the interior design world?
Well, everybody loves a pastel. Those are still trending. The olive green is really trending right now. The black and white is really coming back a lot. That is really coming back. And I saw that with some of my dorms this year, wanting to mix in the black, and then the stripe, the cabana stripe, everybody's here for that. And then the really wide buffalo check pattern. I mean, I can remember that when I was young. And now, everybody wants that kind of Serena and Lily coastal look. And it's, but the colors are really a big deal too. I mean, the brighter pastels, they're pastel, but they have a little bit of a richer tone to them for sure. So lots of fun things to look forward to. I've got some great ideas for next year as well.
Do you see a lot of people choose to stick with school colors?
I did a boys' room a few years ago, and we did the school colors. Some do, not really. They don't, because school colors those aren't always the best thing to work with, So, it can be done cute, but I don't have very many girls that are like, oh, hey, I go to Ole Miss. Will you do me a navy and red ring? Like they don't. It's not their thing.
Yeah.
I think it's, I love that you can connect with your clients. And I think actually it's probably therapy for the parents to be like, I'm not going to be doing this because I've done this before. We're going to let Shelly handle it. And then the discussion about whatever it is going to be in the dorm room
it's
or the
on
apartment
you.
is on Shelly and the kids, not the parents. So I'm sure that the parents really enjoy bringing you into the mix and letting their daughters work with you and collaborate with you and team up. So I think that, that is so much fun. I wish, like I said, I wish I had a time machine for many things, including, getting Shelly to, so what happens if the room gets put together and the girl in a few months says, I want to redo it? Then have you redone rooms in the middle or things like that? Like, how does that work?
I have not redone rooms in the middle. Now, when I was talking about moving my daughter in, that was COVID. And so we moved into one dorm and got it decorated. And then about a month later, we had to move her into another dorm, which was, fun. So I don't have a lot of them, that want to change in the middle because the girls are usually only there until May. And then at that point, a lot of the things that are dorm specific get sold to incoming freshmen and different things like that. And then we, if they want me to work with them the next year, then we take what we had and we just move it on to a new location. But I don't know. I don't know what I would say if somebody wanted me to come in the middle of the year and do something. I don't think that'd be very easy.
I'm just thinking, I'm like, all right. So, sometimes girls can be a little fickle at times. And so, now I want the new latest and greatest. All right. So monogramming in the South, does everything get monogrammed?
I love a monogram. I just do. But as much as I can monogram, I'm going to add a monogram. Even my son that I just did his apartment at LSU or his dorm at LSU, and I had to add in a monogram. And my girls were like, Mom, he's going to get picked on. I went, he's 6'6" and 300 pounds. He's not going to get picked on.
No.
And he's getting a monogram. So, I love them. I just think they add just such a Southern look, and they add just, they have just a sense of elegance to it. And the girls use those forever. That's one of the things they take and use with them, for a long time.
So which pieces are transitional? So the headboard, does that go, or what's transitional between year to year?
So the headboards, the bed skirt, the desk skirts, and then the furniture that's in the dorm. Usually I have a big cabinet done where the refrigerator and the microwave are in. And then I have some furniture on top of the desk. And then if they have like a little, love seat or something, that all usually gets sold at the end of the year. And then the bedding I have done in queen. So they take that with them. If we need to add a pillow or two, we do. I like the girls to have really cute desk chairs because those transition well to another apartment. The lamps are something that they'll probably use in their first home. I like for them to have some fun art because it's their first experience with art, and that's something that they'll always use. But those are kind of the main things. The other things, like I said, rugs and some things like that, they're a little bit disposable. So we don't worry a whole lot about those.
No, trash cans and rugs, goodbye. They're trashed immediately.
I love the idea that you can sell some of that and recoup some of your money, because I'm that girl that shows up at a model home or a model apartment and I walk in and it's decorated beautifully. And I'm, like I said, I didn't get the DNA or the gene to be able to figure out how I want my stuff to look. I just don't know where to begin. But when I walk in a model home or a model apartment, I can at least say, I know I want mine to look this way, or can I buy the model? Right. So I think it would be nice to be able to walk into a dorm room or see what pictures of what someone else as an incoming freshman has done to this room, and me be able to have the option to buy that, or to at least know what I can make this room look like, have it, being looking like ours looked when we were in college, like a jail cell. So that's fabulous.
Well, there's a lot of college dorm resale pages, and that's where a lot of people go and get things that they want for the dorm. And so the girls see it, and they, it's great deals. It's a great place to go and find some of those, things that are specific for a dorm room. And that's good because the parents who are able to recoup some of their money back from, earlier in the year.
So Shelly, have you thought about having your own dorm room furniture line / linens and bed skirts and all of these things, since you're probably making lots of them and working with the fabric people and the tailors and the machine sewers? Have you thought about creating your own line of Mary Margaret?
That is something that's definitely in review right now. We're still wrapping up this year. We've just got a little bit left to wrap up from this year, but it's something I would love to be able, to do. I think that would be really fun. And I think it would, I would be able to curate it so that it would be at a price point that anybody could use, just to make their dorm feel fabulous.
Yeah, because I feel like people could go to Home Goods or Marshalls or TJ Maxx, when you go there for getting great price stuff and you see the Ralph Lauren's or whatever designer it may be, they have those discounted prices at your TJ Maxx or your Home Goods or Marshalls. And they could do the same thing with the Mary Margaret. You could, package those bed skirts or whatever you could package up and
I see
market
the whole
there.
area at Target being your Mary Margaret design, Mary Margaret. Then you get your dorm essentials, because I think that it really is such a great way to just put a little bit of your home flair into it, but also create a personality. And it is kind of scary going away, even if you're an hour and a half away or an hour away or certainly a plane ride away. It just gives kids confidence, especially girls, I think, when they have something that is specially created with them for them. So I love everything that you're doing, and definitely excited for you and Elisa to put together her podcast room, because that will be, that's probably a new trend, I think, Shelly, is that you'll be doing, instead of dorm rooms, you'll be doing podcast rooms.
Podcasts are on the rise. Yeah. Everyone's doing a podcast.
Yeah, everybody has their own podcast now. So we're going to be sharing you with other people to create the podcast room, the Mary Margaret by Shelly podcast room.
Okay. Well, I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. How do people find you? Aside from, someone like me following you on Instagram and stalking you, how do people find you?
My website is marymargaretdesigns.com. And then my TikTok is also Margaret Designs, and my Instagram is too. So, that shows a lot of my rooms, a lot of things that go on behind the scenes and different things like that. Hopefully I've got some dorm tips on there, just different helpful tips and tricks for people. So that's, a great place to get started.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Shelly. It has been so much fun, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy the next little couple weeks of not moving people into their dorms, but you'll be gearing up for the holiday season in no time. So thank you. And the show is called Bench to Bold. So something that we're just going to start asking people on, what's something bold that you've done recently or in your entire lifetime?
Like in a dorm room?
Just in life, something bold, a bold move by Shelly. What would that be?
Well, I've got some great ones for dorms. I don't know so much about me. I can be kind of boring sometimes.
Do you feel like it was a bold move to quit being an elementary or fourth grade school teacher and step out on your own? Because that's a huge commitment, right?
Thank you for articulating that. Yes, it was really scary, and it was really sad because I've been at that school for 10 years, and those were my best friends. And it was really, really, really hard to leave. And it's been hard to not go back this year, but I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that I've just traded classrooms for dorm rooms and podcast rooms, clearly. And, we were scared. And it's a lot of days it's still scary, but I know it's the right thing. And I know that even with this precious podcast, the doors are opening that I guess I never dreamed could ever open.
Yeah. Well, I think that, when you clearly love what you do. And so when you like what you're doing and you love what you're doing, and obviously you love being a teacher, but it was time to kind of take that and go bigger and do some more stuff and still, share your love of education and bringing all sorts of fun things to kids that are going to their next steps in life. So it's really exciting to watch people go and grow and continue on their career path as well. So that's fun to watch. So bravo to you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So thank you for joining us today on Bench to Bold. I'm Marnie.
And I'm Elisa.
And we'll see everybody back here next week. So thank you.
Thanks,
Shelly.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.